This video was requested by one of my viewers in my Discord server, Alex the Flying Dutchman. I didn't forget about you. I was just being crazy busy and I was also sick for a while. I caught a cold somehow in the middle of the summer. I don't know how that happened. Anyways, I didn't forget about your request. Here is the video where I use ChatGPT to code up a simple website, I guess, just using HTML and CSS, no JavaScript. So if any of your students are watching this that are just starting out and they don't know anything about JavaScript or anything like that, just know HTML and CSS, hopefully this will help them build a simple website, I guess. So in this video, I will be working on building a personal profile page. And yeah, let's get right into it. So just to quickly go over my setup, I have a split screen. On the right hand side, I have ChatGPT using GPT-4. That's for Plus members. So I do pay the membership fee of about, I think, $20 US dollars per month. That's quite pricey. So I totally understand if you're using 3.5, just know that I'm using 4, and there's a pretty big difference between 3.5 and 4 in terms of quality. So I'll be using GPT-4. It will be a good showcase of what GPT-4 can do for you. And if you like it, you can pay for it and you can use it. I definitely recommend if you're learning to program and if you're going to be programming regularly, even if you're doing it as a hobby. On the left-hand side, I have Visual Studio Code. That's a IDE. That's a special text editor for programmers for writing code. I will be using this, but you can use any IDE of your choice. So now first I need to set my project up. So I'm going to go to my downloads folder, which is completely empty right now. I'm using Mac, by the way. And here I will be doing, let's say, profile page. And then open. Okay, so that is my setup here. That's the folder. It's completely empty right now. And I will be talking to GPT-4 now. What you want to do in the beginning is you want to set the stage up and you want to communicate to GPT-4 as if you're communicating to a teammate or from a senior programmer like myself. From my point of view, I will be talking to GPT-4 as if I'm talking to a junior programmer. So I'm gonna be saying something like, I like to use bullet points, by the way. I want to build a single personal profile page. I want to use only HTML and CSS. I want the page to be minimalistic graphical design. You just sort of lay out everything at a high level. You don't want to get into too much detail and try to get all the answers from GPT-4 right from the beginning. I usually find that if you want to do prompting and you want to build something with GPT-4, take it as a slow journey together, and you always approach the problem or anything you want to build, describe it at a high level. Don't start saying stuff like, I want a button here, I want like an image here. You don't want to be too specific right from the beginning. So some kind of a minimalistic graphical design. There will be visible sections. And then now I want to ask GPT-4 what kind of sections that it could put in for me on this profile page. So could you tell me what sections you can add to this profile page? Let's see what it says in return. Right, it's still going and it's taking quite a while because GPT-4 is a lot slower than 3.5. So we've got header, about me, skills, experience, education, portfolio, testimonials, contact me. Okay, so right away I want to stop it. It's a little too much for me. Maybe I want to keep maybe 4 sections out of this. So if you had to reduce sections down to just 4 sections, 4 most important sections, what could they be? Right, when I asked it to reduce the sections down to 4, we've got header, about me, skills, experience and education, and then contact me. I think that's pretty straightforward. I think that's a really good summary of myself. So now I'm going to be asking ChatGPT the next question, which is to provide me with some code. Again, we're still staying at the high level. We don't want to be too specific. We don't want all the answers from ChatGPT. So the question will be, I need initial HTML and CSS boilerplate code that will be the single profile page. Could you add placeholder sections in the page for the above mentioned sections. And then we'll see what it gives us. Right, so for this, I'm going to be going here and create a new file called profile.html. Okay, so GPT-4 has given me the HTML code, and as you can see in the head section, it has given me this line where we are importing the styles.css file, and it's assuming that it's within the same folder, and we have the style here. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to copy and paste, save it, and then I will create another file called styles.css, and I will copy the styles and paste it and save. Now we're going to try to open this. Let's see if I can open it here. There you go. So right away, that looks pretty good to me. Let's see what can we change here. I think we can sort of move this contact me section above up here, and then make this a 2-column. So we have the about me and my brief introduction about myself on the left hand side, and then I'll put the contact me section on the right hand side here, and then on the bottom we'll have experiences and education. So this is what you want to do with ChatGPT when you're coding. You always want to tell it to not code everything, and then you have the overall outline, and you have to decide for yourself whether you like that outline or not without the actual content inside of them first. So you make the decisions from the high level to low level. So now what I'm going to do is I would like to relocate the contact me section to the top, beside the about me section. About me and contact me will be part of the 2 columns layout. Okay, let's look at what it's saying. Sure, to arrange about me and contact me sections side by side at the top of your page, you'll need to use a CSS layout technique called flexbox. Yeah, so flexbox is something that's used a lot, and if you are wondering what that is, please take a look at this amazing page, A Complete Guide to Flexbox, and it will teach you. This is part of the CSS, and it will teach you everything that you need to know about Flexbox. It's a pretty dynamic layout management, but without even knowing that, I'm hoping ChatGPT is going to solve that for me. So I'm going to just copy and paste this again. Okay, let's actually take a look at what it has done for us. So before we had pretty straightforward. We had the header section, and then we have about me, right? But now, if I copy the new code, what has happened is that the contact me has moved inside into this div, and then the flex container is being used to divide the screen into half. So on the left hand side we have about me, and then on the right hand side we have the contact me. So this is before and then after. I'm going to save that, and then now we need to also copy the styles, and then we will reload. Voila, that's what happened. So there seems to be some weird padding issue here, and let's tell ChatGPT about that. There seems to be padding applied on the left side of about me and right side of contact me. Could you remove the padding? Keep the code concise, only showing where the change needs to happen. So it seems like in order to fix this, we only have to change the CSS styling, which makes sense. We're not changing the contents of the page. So let's look at where the flex container is. And we will replace it like that. And then about and contact, they need to be copied. Okay, there you go. Now that's been removed. So it's all looking good now. Okay, so now we want to fill in the contents of it here. So first of all, let's work on the header section. So I want to generate the content for the header section. My name is Curtis. I am a software engineer. I am an aspiring software developer. I am a student. I am very much passionate about programming. And then lastly, you just want to tell it to like keep everything short, because ChatGPT, based on my experience, likes to go on like on and on about the kind of like this kind of text generation. It likes to say a lot of things, but you really want to keep it concise. So when generating the how should I say slogan about myself, could you please keep it as one sentence? Keep it concise. Okay, so it's telling me where I can update the HTML. So here, instead of your name, Curtis, and we do that. Right. So that's pretty straightforward. So it's only about here. Now for about me, I'm gonna ask it to add a image here now. So this is where you can start to be pretty specific now, one section at a time. I want to generate code for about me section. I want to add a profile image that is going to be the focal point. I want the, how should I say, the introduction paragraph about myself to wrap around the image to the right. I will insert the image from an image. I will insert an image from the internet. So I will inject the URL. And then here is what you should use to write the introduction of myself. I have attended. I am passionate about developing web applications. I do regular hackathons at school to build simple web games. I love to use minimalistic and clean styles for graphics. I want to pursue software engineering in college. My favorite teacher is Alex the Flying Dutchman. Okay, so right away we see in the code that it's expecting us to insert this image. And it's kind enough to explain to us we should be using the floated image so that the text can wrap around it. In this code, you should replace, okay, I will replace that, and then text in the following paragraph will wrap around its right, margin bottom. Okay, so I'm going to copy this, and then for the section about, let me just do the indentation correctly. Save, and the image is not going to work for now, but let's take a look. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and find the image. And SpongeBob image, I like this one. Copy image address. Let's try to open it. Okay, that looks perfect. It's a PNG, so that's going to work just fine. Okay, the image is way too big after I put it in. So that's a problem. When I pasted my image from the internet, it turned out to be too big. Can you reduce or style the size of the image appropriately so that everything looks nice? Right, so it's telling me to use CSS to size, which is the correct answer. Right, so I'm going to copy this and paste. And then as for the CSS, I think it simply wants me to add profile image. So this is referring to class because it's got a dot in front of it. So it will be selecting this image here. So I'm going to copy this code and just simply put it in to the CSS file at the end. And then we're going to check out what happened. And of course, I have to put the SpongeBob image address again here. There you go. Okay, so I think that looks okay now. So let's move on to the contact me. If it's not too much, once in a while, I like to just copy and paste the whole code to let ChatGPT know the progress so far. So here is the updated sorry, I had a spelling mistake. Profiled. So then here it needs to be profile as well instead of profiled. Right, so here is the updated profile.html. And then I like to usually just put 3 of these. This is the convention for programmers to whenever they're sharing code on the internet. This is a markdown convention. So I put that to indicate that this is the start of a code block. And then I just copy and paste the whole thing. And then please keep this progress in mind. And I will ask you to generate more soon. Okay, so now I've updated my progress so far. We're in sync. I do that time to time so that ChatGPT doesn't get confused. Because after I copy and paste, quite often I go in and just like the image URL that I pasted here, I make some tweaks, and then we go out of sync. So that when I ask the next question, it gives me some weird answer back based on its last known state. But if I sync it, then it's able to generate code for me based off of where I'm at right now. So now I want to generate for the contact me section. I want to include the following information about myself. So I would say phone number, my address, my email, and then my Twitter handle. And then for now, you can generate random and readable, sensible values as placeholders. And I also want to specify just a little bit what kind of style I want them to be shown. So I want the layout of this to be like a table with colored, alternating colored table. Keep the design minimalistic and clean. So let's see what it can come up with. So right away, it's using table because I told it to use table. And it is actually generating the values for me. That's interesting. Okay, so I think that is the HTML. So we're going to go ahead and copy and paste it into the context section. There you go. And then we have the CSS, and we add it as well. And let's take a look at what it generated for us. There you go. That looks quite nice to me. I don't really like that it's using type and information, so I don't think that's necessary. So in the table, I don't think the table headers are necessary, which is type and information. Could you remove and show me concisely where I need to manually make the change in the code? Right, so it's kind of guiding me where I should make the change. And as you can see, you can ask it to show you where you need to make the change in the code, but then you can also ask it to explain why that change is necessary. So in this case, it's asking us to delete this part, which kind of makes sense. There you go. So that looks nice now. And then now we're going to be looking at the experience and education. And again, I am going to ask it to generate the information for me. So I want to now generate for experience and education section. I would like the experiences to be at the top. And for each experience, I would like the following: title, company. It's kind of funny. I said I'm a student and I have all these work experiences, so I shouldn't say company. I would say project. And instead of title, role within the project, and dates, and what my contributions were. 3 bullet points. That's what I want for each experience. And then you can also specify the style. Have the role, project, and dates nicely styled compact together. Bullet points show up underneath. And as for the education, I want to state my high school, extra curriculum activities, my favorite subjects, my favorite teacher, Alex the Flying Dutchman. Okay, let's see what it gives us. Actually, I forgot to, for now, could you randomly generate some sensible experiences and education, high school in New York for education. Here we go. I have a feeling that this is going to be quite a big chunk of code that it's going to generate. Oh, that's interesting. I told it to make it compact, and it's just taking the most lazy way of showing this, just piping with a pipe character. That's not ideal. So right away, there's some improvement that we can make. So I'm going to ask it to make that improvement, but let's wait and copy and paste the code and see. All right, it seems like the HTML part is finished, so I'm going to copy and paste that. Okay. Okay, I copied and pasted in the wrong place. Whoops. It should be here. Okay. Okay, that's more like it. But right away, we see that there's too much space on the right-hand side. I definitely don't like the huge empty space on the right side of experience and education section. Could you do something neat with the styling so that the page is evenly balanced and filled? Oh, so it's actually taking the approach of going for two-columned layout for the experience and the education. That's interesting. I didn't think about that. All right. Okay. So it's not giving me some code that I can straight up copy and paste, but that's okay. Can you show me the entire experience section? Well, it's actually showing me the entire thing, even though I asked it for experience section. I guess when I said section, it understood it as the entire thing, so it doesn't matter here. There you go. So that looks a bit more like a proper page, except we can do some more padding and extra styling and things like that. And let's add a footer on the bottom with the same color that stretches all across and put a nice quote. So I would like to add a footer section at the bottom with the footer section will have the same background color as the header section. It will have a famous programming quote shown at the center. All right, let's see what it gives us. Donald Knuth. Premature optimization is the root of all evil. Yeah, I've heard about that. So that's basically saying, when you're writing code, don't try to think way too much ahead and try to add complicated code. Keep everything simple in the beginning, and then you improve on it bit by bit, which is exactly what I'm doing with ChatGPT right now. This is, if you become a software engineer, this is what you'll be doing all the time. You always want to keep everything simple, and then you improve on it and you iterate on it. right? So here, I mean, I know where the footer should go, but from a beginner's point of view, it might be confusing. So if ChatGPT gives you this a concise answer like this, then it doesn't hurt to just ask it, where should the footer be inserted in the profile.html? Show me concisely whereabouts. So it should be placed at the end of the body tag after all other content, right? So before we exit body, it's showing us here's a section with the experience, right? And then that's where we want to put that. And then for that, we require another CSS. And then there you go. Well, I've asked it to have specifically the same background with the header, but it's not doing that for some reason. But you know, we can do that ourselves. Or I quite like the way it's gray on the bottom, so we'll just keep it like that. There is too much gap between the footer and the section above. So let's, yeah, it's told us exactly what I did. But for some reason, it's not working. So in order to find out what's happening, we have to look at the Chrome inspector. Let me make it big. And if we go here and just click on that, here the footer, go to compute it. The margin is 10, which is what we set. But the whole gap, actually, the majority of the gap is coming from here, this one. So the experience section actually has a margin of 50. So somewhere here we have 50, here margin bottom 50. So maybe if we reduce that, then there you go. So that is everything. I mean, it took us very short time to come up with this. So I would say that was really fast using ChatGPT. If I was to build something like this, single page profile, using pure HTML and CSS, it would have taken definitely longer time than it took with us using ChatGPT. With my day job, working on more complex web applications, I do exactly the same thing. I use TypeScript and React framework, but it doesn't really matter what you use. You always want to guide the AI from high-level discussions and guidelines, and then ask it to produce outline code, sort of the overall outline. Don't ask it to fill in all the details right away. And then you just do divide and conquer. Just take bit by bit, different sections, and then ask it to code. And then you manually kind of piece it together. Right now, that's the limitation of ChatGPT, the way I see it. You don't want to have such a long running kind of code right off the bat. You want to start like zeroing in from high level to low level. So I hope this video was helpful to you guys, and keep them coming. If you want to ask for more content, I'll try my best and try to yeah, build awesome things with AI if you want me to continue building something like this.